environment. Hey everyone, how's it going? In this video, I want to share with you something that I've discovered that's really cool. It's in VR and it helps address a fear that a lot of people have. I know a lot of my students have had this fear for years, and it's something that's really important: public speaking. Because a lot of people don't like speaking in front of others, and it's really important to be able to speak in front of other people. If you can't communicate your ideas, it's just as if you had no ideas. And this goes all the way from just a one-on-one interview situation, all the way to small group conversations, if you have to present to a class or a lecture hall, or maybe you're at a conference and you have to present in a conference room to 100+ people. It's important to develop public speaking skills. I know it's something that I struggled with a lot when I was younger. A long time ago, when I used to work in hotels and resorts, I recognized that being able to speak in public was a skill that a lot of people that were successful had. So in my case, I joined an organization called Toastmasters. And once a week we would get together, we'd have a chance to, practice our public speaking, from impromptu little speeches called table topics, all the way up to preparing and delivering an actual speech. But even with the Toastmasters that I took, I was limited to the number of times that I could attend a Toastmasters meeting, and I was limited at the number of opportunities that I had to practice. And it's still the same. When I'm teaching, and for the last 20 years, 25 years, I've done a lot of presentations with my students where students have to present their ideas to the class, and every time it's the same scenario. At the beginning, there's usually a lot of students that are struggling, and by the end of the semester, they've improved quite a bit. And the reason they've improved is because of practice and because they've gotten feedback. Well, that's where this VR app comes in. It's called Ovation, and it's really impressive. With Ovation, what I'm able to do is I'm able to go into the app, I'm able to select from a number of different venues, a number of different audience profiles, and I'm able to really configure the environment that I'm going to speak into. Then the AI will listen to my speech, look for different words that I'm not using correctly, look for things like my gaze around the room, test my emotion. There's a number of parameters that it will use in order to then provide feedback for my speech. Let's put on the headset and take a look at Ovation. I've logged into Ovation using my account, and one of the things that you'll do with Ovation is you'll create an account not just here in the VR headset, but you'll also create an account on their website. That'll allow you to go in and do things like upload various different materials. So you can see here I'm backstage. Over to the side, I have a screen, and that's material that I've loaded. I'm going to be doing a presentation in a couple of days on accessible learning, so I'm going to use Ovation to practice my speech. I also have things like a tablet and a handheld, and over on the side I could load up a chalkboard drawing if I'd like as well, or even several. So you'll notice that I can do a speech, I can have a conversation with friends or other people, and I can even practice my interview skills. I can set up the environment, have meetings with other people using Ovation. I can manage the environment, seeing some of the speeches I've given, the duration, when I gave the speech. I can go back and review those speeches. I can go in and do a review that talks about, let's say, for example, AI and personalized learning. It'll allow me to see how I did with that speech. I can see the report. It'll go through and give me a complete detail, including quotes, some tips on how to improve. So it's really going to help me improve my public speaking. And of course, I have a whole number of different settings. For example, right now I'm sitting, so I'll put myself into sitting mode. You can see that I have a lot of different things that I can do. I'm a little bit shorter than 6 feet. I can go in and I can adjust things, and I can make it exactly the way that I'd like it. Let's take a look at these areas. First of all, let's take a look at conducting an interview. By default, the venue will be an office with a capacity of 2. I'm going to go into that venue, and I'm going to get some great options in terms of ensuring that I can practice interview skills. This really is something that I think students can benefit from. It's great to be able to practice and have mock interviews because that will help you in advance of being able to actually conduct an interview and without having to sort of, for lack of a better term, expend an interview opportunity. Here you can do multiple interviews before an actual real interview. Here I am the applicant. I can say what I want to do, give my name. I can put the type of job that I'd like to apply for. So let's say, for example, I want to apply as a teacher. I could go in and have the company name, maybe it'll be Acme, and then I can go in and say I'm going to be a teacher in, let's say, education. That kind of makes sense. But it could be a trainer in a different industry as well. I could import and do a whole bunch of customizations. But for now, I'm just going to have a look here. You can see I've got 2 people that have joined me in the interview. So I'm going to go ahead in here and it's just going to be me and the person conducting the interview. I'm going to go in here and I could, it automatically goes between male and female, but I could have either or. I could have social distancing. Let's say we're wearing business clothing. Let's say, for example, they're not going to stand up and give me an ovation at the end of the interview. Maybe, I don't know. It'd be a very good interview if the recruiter stood up and gave me a standing ovation. And I'm going to have them I'm going to listen first. Let's see how the interview goes. I'm not going to conduct the full interview, but you can see I'm in an office. I'm sitting down.
Frank, thank you for coming in today. Let's start by having you tell me a bit about your background and what led you to apply for the teacher position at Acme.
Well, I'm really excited about Acme because I've heard so many great things about it as an educational institution. I've been teaching for over 25 years, and I really want to be able to teach at Acme because I understand that Acme really focuses on using advanced technology to help students succeed. That's something I'm really interested in. I think it's something that I could really contribute a lot to the organization. That's going to generate another question.
That's great to hear. Can you share an example of how you've successfully integrated technology into your teaching in the past?
Now, I'm going to end the interview very quickly. You'll notice that I'm not going to do too well in terms of the report because I only answered one question. But you can see it's going to give me a lot of different it's going to give me a lot of feedback on my professionalism, on how I listened, my clarity, my relevance, my confidence. And this is a great opportunity for students to practice their interviewing skills in an environment that is safe and also very low risk, but with a lot of feedback. Okay, so let's change the venue and let's maybe go to something like a mountain lodge. At the mountain lodge, maybe I want to go to this venue here and I'm going to have a conversation with some friends. Or it could be a conversation with colleagues or a whole number of different audience types. So I'm switching out the venue. It's going to bring me to a nice mountain lodge. And here at the mountain lodge, you can see I've got some folks that I'm sitting down with. So I could go in here and maybe in this case, you'll notice I'm still at the interview stage. Let's make this a casual conversation. And it's going to be a casual exchange. It could be if I wanted to have it as a brainstorming meeting or consensus seeking. There's all sorts of different things. Oh, look at that. You can have it as, you can even practice your dating skills on here. You could have negotiations, all sorts of different types of conversations that you can have. I'm going to go in and let's say it's going to be just a casual conversation with some friends. Again, I could choose my audience, friends. I could have a casual conversation with family, different high school students, some investors, all sorts of different people. We could even practice my crime drama. I could have lawyers and law enforcement. So if I'm a writer and I want to practice crime drama, I guess I could do that as well. And my topic, earlier I was talking to my friends about Pokemon, which I know nothing about. So I'm going to do something, we're going to talk about kayaking, which is going out on the river, doing a little bit of kayaking. Let's go ahead. And I could even select from some available suggested prompts, which can add a little bit of variety in there. But I'll go ahead and we'll do kayaking. Let's have a conversation and let's listen to what my friends have to say. So you can see I've got an audience here, quite a few of us. There's 6 of us, 7 of us.
Hey, did I hear someone mention kayaking the other day? I feel like I missed part of that convo and curious to know more.
Yeah, we were talking about it. Do you kayak much? It's honestly pretty awesome.
Yeah, kayaking is absolutely fantastic. You could either do river kayaking, like if you want to go down a river, it's kind of very technical. I love sea kayaking. So I do a lot of expedition sea kayaking where I'll load up my kayak and kayak out to different islands and such over a couple of days, and it's a lot of fun. So it's going to generate that using AI.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. I've always wanted to try sea kayaking, but haven't gotten around to it yet. Maybe we could plan a trip together sometime? We could make it like a little adventure and maybe even camp out on one of those islands.
Camp on an island? That sounds epic. I've never done that before. How do you even prepare for something like that?
You must have some crazy stories from your trips. Ever had any wildlife encounters out there?
Yeah, one time we had a bear that came right down to our tents. We pulled into this little beach on an island, and we were setting up our tent, and all of a sudden we looked up and there was a black bear there eating berries. So you can see it's giving me some feedback.
Whoa, seriously? That sounds kind of spooky. I
We're just
remember
gonna
once
go
we
ahead.
spotted it.
We're going to go ahead and end that conversation, even though I was starting to get into it. I was kind of wanting to talk about sea kayaking with some of my new VR friends, my AI VR friends. And you can see it's going to give me a report here. It's going to talk about empathy, clarity, relevance, listening, engagement, and some quotes that I had in there, and some tips, share more stories, ask more questions. I should have asked more questions. And you can go in there and have a conversation and develop your conversational skills. And now let's switch our venue and go somewhere large. We could go to a classroom, we could go to a hotel conference room, a lecture hall, or even a hotel conference room. Let's go to a hotel conference room. Now here I am in a hotel conference room. You can see this is a much larger audience. In this case here, we're not going to do a conversation, we'll do a speech. And my audience here is teachers, neutral question tones mean. Again, everything can be modified. I'm just going to jump right into this speech here. And I could get a prompt and do an impromptu speech, or I could do a speech. You notice that the slides that I loaded up for accessible learning, this is something that I'm giving a speech on in the next couple of days, and this will probably be the environment that I practice in, just to see if I make sure that I have logic, make sure that I have empathy, all the things that I'm going to get feedback on. I'm just going to get a prompt. What would I like to change about the world? And once again, I can give a speech, but this time to an audience, and I can be talking to the audience here. Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. I'm just going to talk a little bit here. I'm not actually going to do much, but I'm going to change my slides here in terms of what I'm doing. This is going to be a presentation that I give. This isn't a very good speech, there's nothing here, but you can see that I'm now giving a speech to a large audience. We're going to go ahead and end that one, and that one we'll just discard because I didn't really actually give a speech. This is an app that I really recommend for everyone. If you already have a VR headset, a MetaQuest 3, MetaQuest 2, I highly recommend that you pick up this app and a subscription to Ovation. I also think that it's really important for schools to have this, and I know that I'm now going to bring this back as a proposal to the school where I teach to see if it's something that I can start using more with my students as well. It's just such a great opportunity, and it's done so well. This is one of those VR apps that I'm going to say is one of those must-have apps for professional development and growth that's really going to help you get ahead. So if you liked the video, hit like and subscribe if you like more videos like this. I really do appreciate it. And share this with other people that you think could benefit. And mostly, make sure that you practice your public speaking. Make sure you practice your interview skills. It's going to be something that serves you well throughout your entire career and just life in general. If you have ideas, the world deserves to hear about them.